Welcome, listener or viewer. I'm Ian Kennedy, the host and creator of the Nothing to Gain podcast, a series of recorded interviews with influential protagonists from around the music scene over the last few decades. There's no agenda other than to enlighten, inspire, and at times, hopefully, amuse you. If you like what you see and want to support, you can do so by donating to the GoFundMe campaign by clicking the link in the video description. Please share with your friends and feel free to comment and offer your thoughts. Hello.
Hello, here we are. Yeah.
How are you guys? You're going to keep the background going, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay.
We are like outer space now, but still in the universe.
Okay. So we'll go with tres, dos, uno, and we're rolling.
Yeah, cool.
So, Frank,
yeah,
nice to see you.
nice to see you, and still alive, both of us.
Yeah,
sure.
It's been a long time.
It's a long time, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and a lot has happened in the last decade, I suppose.
Lots of things, lots of projects, lots of new friends, old friends, whatever.
Yeah. So to give some background, we first met when I was doing a party called Balearic Mystique.
Oh yeah, of course, that was a nice one.
Yeah, you were one of the first guests, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, long time ago, and beautiful Sunset Ashram and Ibiza, wonderful.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in Ibiza?
That's 6 years ago now.
Right.
It was changing a lot, and it was time to go because it was for my kind of taste was too much changes, too much commercial stuff, and too much kind of a bit overrating, because before it wasn't like that. But I think now it's starting back again, and it was before. I was there I was invited by a friend who was running Radio Babylonia, Alvaro, and
Yeah.
I hopefully will be there very soon.
Right. I just read, I was looking to see what gigs you'd done in Ibiza. And I read a little article about you in Canceres in San Mateo.
Yeah, that was a kind of French owner restaurant, a luxury, really good food restaurant in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I also have done DJ sound and as well painting, because I do art as well.
Yeah.
I do paintings. So this guy, the French guy, has running a gallery, art gallery, and and great food. And it was always good to play chill out music when people were having a dinner there. But then as well, I was joining this playing music, DJing, and besides of that, doing live art painting, which
Wow.
was kind of really crazy mixture.
What, at the same time?
Or same time.
Really?
Same time.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, do you know one thing I picked up in that article, and because and I haven't said hello to you yet, Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Who's there beside you, and I'm sure you're going to talk to us a bit more later about your RC projects.
He's wonderful, and we have lots of projects together, so it's
I'm excited to hear about those. What you mentioned in the article was about food and about music and the flavor, the idea of ingredients, and that I instantly thought that's so Frank, because in terms of music and variety, I don't know many DJs or label owners that have really tried to create that type of diversity in what they do. Where does it come from for you, this love for diverse music?
And I'm growing up from art, from an artist background, for my whole family.
Yeah,
which was for decades. Like I growing up in a border town, Aachen, which is Germany, but I have a Dutch mother and a German father and a Jewish as well background. And then it was all more or less artists. There were Spanish people also in the family. There was French people. So all linked to art. And I think when you link to any kind of art, I've grown up very open-minded. My father used to listen to he's a pioneer of electronic arts. And so he was listening to electronic music, John Cage, and as well like Kraftwerk and all this stuff. And anyway, he was also linked to jazz music and traditional kind of music. So it
Right.
was really a mixture. So that was the background, and performance art, of course, and
Performance art.
theater and all this stuff.
So I mean, you're truly a creative. And what's your? Do you have any particular theories on creativity? You're a perfect person to have a perspective on. I've got my own personal ideas about creativity and whether there's a genetic relationship to creatives, and some people are and some people aren't. Do you have any ideas about where artistic creation and inspiration comes from, and is it unique to certain people, or can everybody be creative? What's the
I think everybody can be creative, but not everybody has the same talent. And I
mm,
think notice, or even just the normal public, they 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 feel it. Like they feel if you have something different or talent.
mm,
And everybody can do drawings for themselves or whatever. But
yeah,
when it comes out, when you're just there, people recognizing it. And
right,
it doesn't matter which kind of people. When I was traveling all more around the world, and I recognized even in a village there's somebody and is painting and the people like it or didn't like it. But anyway, the people catch it that it's kind of is more linked to this art thing or
mm,
whatever music, and other people just do it for themselves, which is also creative and very fine with me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's I think it lies within the individual
Yeah.
in terms it's their need or their want to create, and it doesn't necessarily matter the quality or whether anybody sees it, but when somebody else does see it and sees a talent, the objective nature of that kind of makes it into a more I guess widely accepted form of art. Now, what I'd like to talk about briefly, and we probably talk about it more, but Vampisoul Records.
Mm,
um, I'm a big fan of the label. I know a lot
that's
of people
great.
are. I think it's released some. I mean, certainly there's music I'd never have heard before, especially South American style,
Yeah.
kind of like psychedelic soul and cumbia and funk and Brazilian stuff, which has got a slightly different. How did the label begin for you? Where's the story for Vampisoul?
I was always linked with Madrid, with lots of people and artists and friends in Madrid and Spain, my capital
Yeah,
town. So Miguel Lorca was a friend of mine, and he set up the first tour I had with a kind of psychedelic, kind of post-punk band from
mm,
Holland and Germany and Switzerland. And we
yeah,
were touring, and this guy was linked to Monster Records, which was the same founders was running Vampisoul at least,
yeah.
because it's a kind of very known label. Monster Records is much more linked to rock music, garage punk, garage rock and roll,
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. The Cramps, Gun Club, and all this stuff.
There was a
But
there's a
then,
track
but
there's a track on the label at the moment. It's Marie Nights. It's a sort of
yeah,
northern soul kind of
yeah,
vibe
and
to me.
that was also released by Monster Records.
Yeah.
But it's the same label. So
Mm.
it's just a sub label. And Vampisoul was a sub label. Now it's more or less the biggest label of the family. We
Okay.
have 5 different labels under the same
Right.
trademark, at least,
Yeah.
under Munster. But it's all coming from a lot of passionate musicians and people running it. And it was founded by Inigo Munster,
Yeah.
and he is the more or less the owner of the label, together with Enano, Alfonso Romano, another friend of mine, and Moki, and there's much more people involved.
Right.
So it's like a creative pool of people really passionate about any kind of music and try
Mm.
to keep it alive.
Right. That's really interesting. So it's a team, really. It's a
Yeah, it's a
and
team. Yeah.
and the output is something that you all contribute to, and it's not necessarily. I mean, do you have to do some of the nitty gritty label work, like the spreadsheets and the publicity and things like that, or do you just go and find the music and
It's really an independent label, but it's a big label. So it
yeah,
was becoming a big label. It's really coming from the punk and do-it-yourself scene. But then it just was becoming growing up constantly. It's which is roots coming from the Basque Country, from Bilbao, but now
Yeah.
it's like based for a long time in Madrid.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like working there has a little bit his own projects, but
Right.
it's the same family. Like Vampisoul was the earlier of Inigo, of course, and he's still the really really the grandfather of the label of
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the labels. But he's a great guy. He's really really passionate of music, and it's great to get always in touch with him.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell there's a passion behind the music, because otherwise this kind of music would just die in history, really. It's
Yeah,
I think the digital age of music and YouTube and
yeah,
Discogs and things like that has definitely brought up. It's almost like the bottom of the ocean. It's kind of brought up lots of the particles of music and sound
of
and
course.
culture, which now we can sort of enjoy in this online environment. But it's very nice to see labels that are still repressing onto vinyl and 7-inch catalogs and being able to release records. Do you, I mean, do you still play records wherever you go when you travel?
I've much more bookings, not now because of the COVID, but usually I've got much more bookings with the vinyl than with the laptop.
Right.
I can work with any kind of format,
Yeah.
but uh, usually get bookings. I think it's a big kind of wave to for people, even young people, that they can see what you're playing, that they like
Yeah.
see the little records. You can show the covers. It's a bit entertaining as well, because when you play with a laptop, you can, even if the music and people can dance, it's the same music. But the good thing about it, people can come to you. It's a bit more personal.
Mm.
They can, wow, that's a record. They really want to know the vintage records, or even it's a re-release like Vampisoul doing. It's a bit more contact with people, I think.
I see. Yeah, I totally agree. It's I guess it's a bit strange for people like us who that's what collecting records was about. I've got a big sort of stack of
Like me too.
shelves here
Too
right next
much.
to me. The this culture of DJing has kind of come back round to a point where the physical record has a little bit more mystery and um, a bit more magic to it, really. And I think when you're also playing,
Yeah.
you can look at people much
Yeah.
easier when you're playing records rather than having some wall up like a laptop. And um, what
It's
about
an entertainment thing as well, because I remember when I got the booking in Budapest for Buddha Beats guys.
right?
Thanks a lot for booking me there. It was
Wow,
a huge,
Budapest.
huge, big venue,
I
and
was in Budapest
yeah,
about a year and a half ago. Yeah,
yeah, and there was Fogarage, a really, really big space there,
yeah.
and I was just booked there and flying in, and the hardcore thing was to bring people in this huge space. It was the first day of really, I think, of June, and it was incredible good weather. So everybody was
Mm,
outside, and it was DJs playing outside. How to bring in
mm,
the people?
yeah, yeah,
So that had a
right.
kind of stream. And I said, I playing vinyl records. So I made my show, like I also do performance art. So I put on any 45 vinyl record a shot of tequila and rum, drinking it with the record and gambling and doing like with the whole vinyl records, something like this.
Right.
So after seeing this, all
Yeah.
people just come in. There's a crazy DJ. He's
Yeah.
drinking
Exactly.
on the records, and you couldn't do this with a laptop.
No. Well, yeah. Yeah.
I just showed the record, and you can do like this, a whop. You
Right.
play. Right. It's perfect. The 45 fits perfect with a little shot.
Yeah. Okay.
This, if you put here a shot,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
that's straight.
Yeah. Okay. I must try that. Yeah.
Yes,
That's that's a good way of getting some attention, isn't it? Just do something
yeah, of
that's a
course.
bit crazy.
Yeah, like me. Like
So
me.
what did you? I mean, Budapest is what a town. I mean, another thing that I think we should say. You're a very very widely travelled DJ.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't just travel the world because you want to, but you've played and been booked in lots of countries. I think I read it's like 40 countries or something.
It was more, much more. It
It's
was more than
more.
40 countries more or less. I didn't count anymore, but it was funny and crazy bookings. Like most for hours close to Ovalu Island, which is in Fiji.
Right.
And I was booked in a club, which was a kind of club from the 18th century.
A club
for
from the
dancing.
Oh wow!
It was existing from 18th century
in Fiji.
Yes.
Okay.
And was one of the most far out parties I've ever been booked.
I'm not surprised. I mean, Fiji was kind of. I mean, it's like indigenous tribes. Pretty. I don't know. Some islands were probably uncontacted in the late 18th century.
You even made it to one. There was no party because there was nothing possible. But
Right.
Ovalu, it's not on the main island. You have to go by boat or whatever. Even my flight was cancelled because Fiji Airlines said they've canceled this flight to Ovalu when I was in the air with them, when it was flying, because there was only 2 people in this little plane.
Right.
So the pilot says, I go back now because it's not worth to go to Ovalu. And he was canceling the flight in the air. So that was another funny story when I was booked on this club there.
Oh, amazing.
Really amazing.
He's just bored. There's not enough people. It's just
so I had to take the ferry then to come there.
Oh, that was kind of him. He's never traveled with a DJ before, I assume. Like this, I've got to go. I've got to play. Look.
Yeah, and it was amazing because in this little club there in Ovalu, they only had a totally broken sound system. There was only distorted, sound. It was impossible to play whatever. But I made it because everybody there is totally drunk on weekends and totally on this local drug.
Right.
The local, so they're used to this. So anyway, and they're just used to the traditional music and to reggae music. That's it in the UK.
Right, reggae does travel.
And I played some different tunes, and it was incredible. And the people were going nuts, and it's like really, really funny party. But that was the most far out.
Yeah, it sounds like there's the same sort of ingredients or the same elements of every place every weekend around the world, just so bad sound systems, drink, drugs, have a party, back to work Monday.
People want to just enjoy and get rid of the things that happen in the week.
That's right, the dance floor. And like talking of dance floors, this has been, I mean, obviously I'm talking to you from Ibiza, and I don't think there has ever been a year where it's been illegal to dance in Ibiza. We're all very much looking forward to things coming back. Also, I think it's a strange, for all of us, it's a really strange adaptation because it's part of the reason that we live here, for a lot of people. So how in the last year, I mean, if you've not been doing much DJing, I guess, but what's
not too much, but I was DJing a lot. I think I made it like with all my good luck. I always had a little bit of this.
And you found some dance floors as well? Did you find some people?
I was one of the lucky guys who was DJing in Switzerland.
Right.
There was a lockdown in October, and I was there setting up my art and music festival with bands and DJs and as well DJing as well there, and going party because without social distance it was possible.
Wow.
We had a techno party. I've made everything, and there was nobody was tested positive, whatever. It was totally. Fingers crossed, it was fine.
Yeah.
I had concerts there for about 2 weeks DJing. And then I was flying back to Tenerife, where I'm based now. And then I was flying to Portugal. And Portugal was the same.
It was the same, yeah. It's strange, isn't it, how some places have dealt with the borders and the testing and everything, and they seem completely fine. There's no problem. Obviously, I think probably the population is an issue.
To explain all this, I just had good luck. And last year was even Luxembourg. I was in 9 countries.
Wow. I haven't left the island since last Christmas. Yeah.
I know a lot of people, a lot of friends, but I was a bit like I I just good luck, and also it was a little bit like always when I went there, maybe 1 week later was closed down, but I escaped to another place.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was
You
like,
had the information. Yes.
it was like a bit
Well,
tricky, but I made it. So
yeah, great. I'm really happy for you because that's, you know, there's one thing that's definitely happened in Ibiza that, like you're talking about, some of the music that's maybe not our taste in music, commercial, and maybe not as imaginative or inspiring as I would personally listen to. And I do wonder what a lot of those DJs who are on the big posters and all that, what are they doing now? I thought, you know, they could be like working in cafes as waiters or like hairdressers or
yeah.
something.
Carl Cox is now on the way to, after 1.5 years, to Sydney and Melbourne.
Yeah,
I was working with, I was touring in Australia with the Dark Shadows, Richard Hentley, who is a friend of mine.
right.
And they were quite big. They toured all around the world, and was booked with them to play shows together with them in Australia. And Bridget is now for more than 1 year in Cologne in Germany. She couldn't make it back
Right.
home. And the others are still in Australia. So it's this situation for many. And it's
Yes,
really,
yeah.
really difficult, you know, like.
Yeah, it's going to be a relief, but obviously I think there's still some difficult for the industry really to find its feet, and there'll certainly be people wanting to come and listen. It's just whether the infrastructure behind it has got the people in it anymore. Because I believe a lot of people are leaving their jobs and trying to do something different now.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I also had good luck because I have lots of donations by friends in the beginning. Not anymore, because now half of them, I think they also more or less on.
How many times can you ask for help? Like, yeah.
But at least we made, like Maria and me, because we had some projects as well.
Yeah.
And we're doing like performance stuff. And I was meeting Maria just 1 year before the COVID, and I
Right.
inviting her for the festival I set up in Switzerland for the Art Basel. And that's where we just performed with dub with
It was, well, maybe a short introduction.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, definitely. So this is Maria.
Maria.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm a fashion designer.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm also all-around artist, I would say, because I do more than fashion. I just had my fashion show this weekend at Fashion Clash in Maastricht, in Netherlands.
Right.
Yeah, and I also do some performances, some expressive work. So this
that's why
with
why we've met.
Yeah.
Okay, so expressive work, is that a performance art? Is that?
I have my collections, but I also have some pieces that are really critical to society, I would say.
Okay. So they've got a political or satirical theme.
Of course.
Okay.
That's why I invited her for the Art Basel, because it was like the social thing you can tell
because
about
I met him at an exhibition I made with other artists that was urban critics and underground stuff with some masks that I hand knitted and by machine as well, and really expressive and fitting to his concept, and we thought about making a performance out of it. It comes to life, this idea. So we made it in Basel.
And I have to change the old concept we've made before, because she was then in a wheelchair because she walks her lap, because she's also a professional skater. So
ice
skating or?
And
it's skating, skateboard.
Oh really? Okay. Okay.
So she had just an accident, so she couldn't be like she's modeling as well, so she couldn't made it to Switzerland to do the whole concept. So we have to change it. And I said, like, why not put her in a wheelchair, like the model in a wheelchair, and using a machine gun attacking people by remix I played and doing the sound like a DJ outside. Right. It was a dub track by TNT of AC/DC, and then killing people, attacking people in a wheelchair. So that was kind of weird and really crazy.
Yeah, we adapted a bit the concept, but in a weird way, and it was really
Because most people, if you see Maria as model, there was lots of people coming, oh, well, just see the model performance.
Yeah.
But the lady was in a wheelchair with a machine gun, and it were all bad.
So what was the expression or the point behind you, Maria, with the machine gun in the? Is it that the disabled people can be evil too, maybe?
It was like improvising as well, but was as well because there was some political statement because
Right.
people like handicapped people always listen this, and then they treated like shit, and then as well like the Me Too, like the women kind of movement, and she's very involved.
Yes, I made a kind of mask where there's a pattern on it, and you are like in society where you can't express yourself when you are as a special individual in a certain way, and you can't demonstrate yourself like you really are. So that was about, and I made a garment that you can fight out of it. So it's really tight, and you have to bend it somehow. So this was the expression about it, and and we took the wheelchair thing inside to adapt it a bit to also the handicapped people situation,
So a mixture, and because it was art performance, because Art Basel was the biggest art fair so far. There's lots of arty people, but as well people, because it was outside of the club, in front of the river, so anybody can watch it. So it's family with kids and art people, and that's what we like to do.
Right.
Some people shocked, some people love it. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can see there's a real chemistry between you two, and you enjoy yourselves, don't you? That's.
Yes, and I also started making some music because at the fashion show you have the situation that you need music for it, and then I started to create my own thing. So I recorded it here at.
And we now are working on a kind of hip hop and an ambient sound project, whatever,
and some rap.
And some rap, so
I think this is I wouldn't say it's a new frontier, because I think performance art and music has always been it's almost all performance art has a musical element. That's not, obviously there's silent performance art as well, but I think for the next generation of audiences, I think more musicians and DJs should be trying to do something more engaging and thought-provoking than just here's my next song. I hope you like dancing to it. I don't know if I've got it in me. I just talk too much, so that's why I'm doing this stuff now.
We're from more or less Spain, so the Spanish. So she's from Sevilla. So.
I'm half Spanish as well.
So you're from Sevilla. Oh, lovely. We were talking about Sevilla last night. Nell, my fiance, was playing guitar. She's a singer and a guitarist. She was playing out by Esvedra for someone's birthday yesterday. Properly social distanced, of course. And we were talking about going to Sevilla last year. We drove around Andalusia and we went to Sevilla. So do you live in Sevilla now? You live in Tenerife with Frank?
No, I live here in Aachen, just on the border of Netherlands.
So you're not in Tenerife right now. You're in Aachen.
No. I'm now just to visit. We have the project, and I have some other friends. And my father still is there, and in Holland as well. People of my family. Okay. But I'm flying back on the 14th of March.
Yeah. I believe it's true that a lot of young creatives in Spain in the last 15, 20 years have left Spain, and Germany is one destination that a lot of young Spanish have gone to, young professionals and creatives. Was that one of the reasons why did you leave Sevilla? I left London, so there's...
It's a different case. If I would go to Spain, I think I would go to Barcelona. It was my dream. Yeah, because I made the internships there and stuff, and I saw the whole scene, and I think, there's really potential. But yeah, right now, how's the COVID situation going? I won't go back at the moment. I'm just building up my brand here. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
You like it? You like Germany? Because Sevilla's
yeah, Germany.
it,
I think it's more the thing of in Germany, the Netherlands. I'm
It's
working
a
here at
border
the
town here,
border. Yeah,
Aachen,
yeah.
like where I'm
I,
coming from as well.
yeah, I
yeah,
like the border situation. You
Right.
know, you can work on every country more or less.
yeah, yeah. I know the area.
Yeah.
I know the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's,
And in terms of sorry, Frank, carry on.
I just mentioned, and I just noticed that like the Spanish, the most young people, when I was DJing in Berlin, before was more Spanish people, but now they're moving back from Germany and even from Holland because they found out that it's not economically for the economics they have there. It's not the same value of lifestyle. Before
Yeah,
it was party town, but at least the jobs are the same shit,
yeah,
like everywhere, and it's not better paid for lots of them. Besides of them, that what you maybe made it somewhere, but you could make the same thing in Madrid or in Barcelona or Tenerife.
Depends what you're doing,
Yeah.
but Sevilla is really a bit dead in this point.
Okay, yeah,
But
but
yeah, yeah.
that's
Maybe
like
so.
if you go to yeah, even in UK or Germany, southern Germany, it's not the same like Berlin or
yeah, sure.
you know, it's depending on areas. And yeah, it's a bit like this, but I just see how the situation is like, and now it's changing as well because lots of young people can work like now we talk with the laptop and whatever. It's more linked with those things, so you can work from everywhere.
Yeah, remotely. Yeah,
And that's a mixture of both. So I just recognize that. That's
yeah. There's some returning back to Spain. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's like you say with the lifestyle. It's the choice of where you live or where you set up your career is it's a big balancing act. And
yeah,
and
of course. It's
and
always
when you're young, you don't necessarily understand all of the little weights on the balance. But I think if you were from Barcelona or Madrid or Sevilla, you could think that the great northern European cities are exciting, like London, but the actual reality of living there, I think, can be a big culture shock. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I have so many friends of mine who just moved from Tenerife to London, and they stayed there for 2 years, and then they all want to come back.
Right.
Not only for the weather or whatever. They
Yeah.
really said like, it's too much people, it's too much pressure, and if you want to be connected there, even with creative and music scene, is always a big hassle, much more than in Spain.
It's the same as in Berlin as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, can I just pause you one moment? I'm just going to pause because I can see my video is skipping a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
I just want to check if Nell's using the internet. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, back again. Yeah.
I'm back. Yeah, we're doing some like video processing at the moment. It's it takes up your bandwidth. but we're very lucky. We 1 week before the lockdown last year. So in fact, yesterday is the anniversary of us moving to this great new house. Loads more space. We obviously have the studio here, and we live in a forest as well. So there's a really beautiful noise and silence around the place.
Close to where?
Like... close to Esvedra in Calacarbo, Calavedea.
Yeah. Okay.
And it took, I think we tried to transfer our contract, our sort of internet contract, and it took them 2 months. 2 months to send somebody. So we were doing, in the first lockdown, when we were doing our streaming, our DJ streams, it was using my mobile phone data. And it still worked, which was incredible. But now we've managed to get fiber optic internet into the middle of the forest in Calacarbo. So.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
Yeah, we need to. I mean, one of the things that we've been limited by, and I wanted to talk about another one of your projects you mentioned. You're talking about writing a book, and I'm writing as well at the moment. We've had to convert a lot of our work from the performances and the events, which, you know, I love doing very much, to things that are virtual and things that are inside, things that you need the internet for as well. And yeah, tell me a little bit about the book that you're writing. It sounds like maybe a type of memoirs or a history.
It's a crazy mixture because I've done lots of interviews, because I was starting with the punk movement. I was starting a fanzine, which then becomes more or less a musical paper, because I've done this more than 40 years.
40 years? Is it still
40
published?
years, because it's starting very early.
Wow. What's it called?
It's Beer Front. It's like the be on front, but beer.
Okay.
For beer front.
Be front.
Yeah, like we have even drinking charts and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. But it was also not only musicians, it was always becoming a wide range of anything. There's filmmakers like Wes Meyer, who's done the pornographic movie, and, very famous. I've met the interview. Then there was, and he was also doing the first version of the Sex Pistols movie. And then Lemmy from Motorhead, I've interviewed Nick Cave and all those guys. And
really?
Eric Burden, the Gun Club, the Cramps, Didi Ramone, all the stuff. So they stayed at my place, Jello Biafra from Dead Kennedys. There was even, lots of people. There was Chet Baker, there was from the jazz.
And how did these guests, I mean, obviously what I'm doing with this podcast, I don't think I'm going to be getting some names like Lemmy, and well, I can't get Lemmy, but Eric Burden from War. Wow.
And even Lemmy was telling from Motorhead, he was starting up when he was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix, and
wow.
Telling lots of stories about those times. So it was really interesting.
And is this, did you meet these, or did you get access to these guests because of the fanzine, because the Be On Front?
We started like a fanzine, but then it was becoming a big fanzine in Germany, Holland, and in lots of parts. And then we're getting more like the Stranglers and all those guys, Joe Stormers, the Clash, and but also even lots of other people like funky musicians, guys, and all this stuff.
Did you mention Lee Perry as well? You've interviewed Lee
Perry. I also got a booking with Lee Perry and the Mad Professor in Malaga, and with Vampisoul. Vampisoul has made a record with Mad Professor and Frank Castro. He made a remix, and it was Nigel. Nigel is such a great guy. But the funny thing was with Lee, when they were touring, and that was in Malaga, it was totally chaotic. It was really funny. It was a big space hall venue, huge, like up to 1,500, 2,000 people, whatever.
Wow.
Really big. And because they know it was inside, it was not allowed to smoke, but they know a lot of people want to smoke the spliffs and joints. They made it in one way possible to pull off all this smoke.
Really?
Kind of alerts from the big venue.
And so the alarms, the actual smoke alarms. Right.
So I was just meeting then Mad Professor Lee, and they had a German tour driver for the whole tour. And he was like, okay, come with us and we can go to the venue together. It's no problem. So we were there before, and at the backstage, it was everything, Jamaican rum, but no joints to smoke. So I was having some friends from Malaga, some fans of Vampisoul, and I organized for Lee and all those guys the joints.
Yeah, right.
The organizer of this event was thinking like they always had something like to smoke.
Yeah.
And they was always thinking it's the organizer had always something to smoke for them. So it was going nuts. It was nice.
You can't invite Lee Perry to Malaga and not give him a joint. I think that.
At least it was really far out because Lee is really a crazy guy.
I don't know for sure, but
I would say like Mad Professor is not mad
no,
when
he's
they're
not.
mixing, but he's really controlled and very nice bloke. And Lee is much more mad than the Mad Professor, because Mad Professor was becoming more or less a nurse for Lee on this tour.
Right.
Kind of this.
Looking
It
after
was
him.
really, really a great concert, and it was a pleasure to join those guys.
Yeah.
And the best thing was when they always celebrate with all Jamaican guys, besides Nigel, who is from Guyana. But the old guys were in the van with the driver, and they always celebrate the food with Lee Perry, like a Jamaican celebration.
Wow.
And Lee was always like the godfather doing a
Yeah.
celebration and invite us to eat all together Jamaican jerk chicken, and it was incredible. It was
Nice.
really good. And it was a
Nice.
big family. Wow.
It's one of those things, isn't it? I think, and I mean, you know, yourself included, just from collecting records and just trying to share your music, you do meet some incredible people, and you have some experiences that you wouldn't engineer, you couldn't engineer in any other way.
Yeah.
It's certainly my justification for still clinging on to music as a, you know, not just a passion. But yeah, so you've turned to writing these things down. Did you write the fanzine yourself? Did you actually do
It
the
was more
typing?
people involved, of course. It
Yeah.
was lots of people involved. I was the founder together with two other guys, and then one of those guys is now running a really, really, really big music agency in Germany, doing all the
Right.
big festivals all around. But we have still some contact, and yeah, the funny thing was we had this party just before the lockdown, like the anniversary party here in Aachen, and he was there. I haven't seen him for a long time, Günther Linnertz, and he was there just coming, and it was already close to the lockdown. So I have organized a South Korean band.
Oh yeah.
With a female singer.
Right.
Two guys were from Germany, but the female singer just arrived from Southern Korea.
Wow.
And was the last day where it was possible to put something like live music on. And
Yeah.
and then it was with a South Korean band where the COVID was really big. And she was starting to sing a kind of, you know, it was incredible.
Yeah.
To party. And with the next day the club has to close down.
The next day, yeah.
Really crazy.
Yeah.
And
So
I was just arriving from Madrid by meeting those guys from Vampisoul there.
Vampisoul doesn't know any knows no boundaries, definitely.
Not really.
No.
But it was really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know when you've got, so let's just carry on talking about the book, because I want to talk about the process of writing itself. You sit down with a laptop, you've got thoughts in your head, you type them out. Do you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, of course, because the funny thing is, I have no kind of limits. Like I do whatever. I don't write chapters. I was finding out when I was writing the book, it's better to dive to write day by day the stories I just had in my head, and I
Okay.
want to write. And it doesn't matter if it's from the past, from 20 years ago or nowadays. It's just like what is in the mind. And then later I can put them together and make them a bit more sense in the kind of way. But now I'm just writing each day more or less 2 hours. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's the rhythm. So that's perfect. Then I can switch from one story to another. It doesn't matter if it's Lee Perry or Lemmy, or if it's Chet Baker, Eric Burden, or whatever. Or even Ibiza Rocks is included, Daft Punk. There is too many details in the book with all these stories.
Yeah. So you could switch between. I think I've got a similar style. It's maybe that's the nature of having, when you're talking from personal experiences, and they are these maybe there's lots of names and places, and there's different elements of the story that not everybody will understand. Obviously, more people that are into music would be likely to read those kind of memoirs, but those people are difficult to please as well. because they're the ones who've got their own stories as well. They don't want to hear just like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then, you know, to try to get the personal insights into it. Yeah, so it's 2 hours a day. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's lots of
Committed.
stories, and I've done all the interviews, but then it comes back, and as well there is a crazy restaurant in Tenerife where I live in Candelaria, which is not the biggest town, is very linked to the main capital, to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
It's together with La Laguna is more or less 500,000 people living, so it's quite big.
Is there really 500,000? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I moved there, because I know Ibiza is very small, but
yeah,
Tenerife is
even smaller now.
Besides the tourism, you have a big city as well, which is linked to Latin America, where I've been lots of times with Vampisoul, also linked to Latin America, so it's a little bit like this. But anyway, my small town where I'm living is 15 kilometers away, but it's 40,000 people living there, 30,000 people more or less. And there's an Italian restaurant, which the owner, Andrea, has done lots of events in Italy before. So he's a music lover as well. And on his laptop, when you are in a restaurant, you can even listen to Lou Reed's Metal Machine music and enjoying a candlelight dinner, which is nearly impossible, but really like this, he's crazy. And the people coming there as well are very open-minded. So he was always putting, when I'm there and drinking more beer or wine and eat something or whatever, he's putting some music, and then I get, wow, that's for the next day for my book.
I see.
Put on the YouTube some songs. So, do you know this guy? Have you ever met him? And then, wow, okay.
Right. So you can sit there and just enjoy your meal, but then an idea comes to you.
And he was pushing me.
Yeah,
like,
right. So, you needed some encouragement maybe to write these down. Yeah, no, that's, well, I mean, I'm hoping that this, you know, the people that watch the podcast will then think, right, okay, well, you know, I'd like to read some of these stories myself. It's
of course.
Music culture and art culture is obviously very important and very interesting to me and lots of other people. I just contacted Alfredo today about maybe doing this because he's not very well at the moment. So Alfredo, we hope you're feeling okay. But you know, stories of the past are kind of, they're becoming almost fables. You know, it's like the time before music ate itself, really. And I love the idea of bringing Maria back into the conversation. Is this? Yeah, sorry, you're just over on the side. But you know, this combination, this, I guess there's a chemistry, the fusion of ideas. Here's a question for you. Is everything sort of imagined and then improvised during the performance, or do you ever do rehearsal? Do you ever take time to kind of plan these things through, or are you more instinctive on the stage?
It depends.
It depends. It's because it's performance art, we improvise, but also we have a concept, and then I send, or Maria sent me some ideas. Then we are connected. Even when I'm in Tenerife and she's here, we still have, okay, let's do this. And then I just send some ideas, then she's sending me some other ideas, and we have lots of, we really linked with this chaotic Spanish, German in the middle of nowhere. Things, and she also speaks a lot of languages, but then we lost in the languages and the cultures. That makes it very funny as well.
Yeah, so I'm sure. So, sorry, you carry on, Maria. What were you saying?
No, we communicate in every language as well.
Do you really? Yeah. So what? German, Spanish, English, Dutch. You speak Dutch as well. That's quite impressive.
My mother is from Holland, and she was on the model agency. She's from Maastricht.
And I also studied in Maastricht, so fashion design.
And French as well, so it's chaotic.
At school,
but fun.
And do you have, I mean, you've had this opportunity in Switzerland to do was that the first performance that you did together?
Yeah.
And you're sort of planning for the next one, or have you had any since then?
The festival still, now it would be the 10th anniversary of the go-kart festival. It's called go-kart because the venue is called Cargo, and I made it
Garco.
with the words. It's like go-kart,
Yeah,
like but written go and then art and then yeah,
I see. Yeah.
I did.
And
And yeah,
where's that? Where's that
in
venue?
Basel in Switzerland.
So these are both
Usually
in.
when it's the biggest art fair. So
Yeah,
I'm the curator doing all the programmation there, and
yeah.
then inviting people of performance, DJing or whatever, and or fashion, like all
Yeah.
whatever. And it's
Well,
1 week usually.
we'll definitely we'll be in contact, and I'll put these links and
Yeah.
sort of venues and stuff down in the description when this goes up.
And
Yeah.
then as well with Maria, we've when there was we were like I couldn't made it back home for 3 months more, and I was like back here in my old hometown in my old neighborhood, whatever. And Maria as well. She was more or less close to move back to Sevilla or Barcelona, but then the COVID thing. So we were in a similar situation. We were both very bored, not traveling so much and doing. So we made a kind of donation video projects. You still can donate because in the YouTube, if you just check out Maria and Frank Castro, and then Maria Voth, you will find in YouTube Frank Castro the videos with Maria. It's lots of stuff. It's funny stuff. It's crazy stuff, and we always made it really improvised somewhere at the Unti.
Yeah, it's the Unti. It's a project as well. It's a subway underground thing that was really ugly, and yeah, I don't know. People use it as drug dealing and something.
Okay.
And now we started a project. we started a project with this Girl Skate Aachen, because I also coach girls to skateboarding, and it was a social project in between as well. So at the Unti, they renovated and we painted it with graffiti artists, and yeah, also a super interesting Senor Schnu. He's a painter,
graffiti artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So you're into, obviously being into skateboarding is a very close connection with graffiti, really, like sort of urban culture.
Yeah, they made a cultural center there.
Right.
Yeah, so we had also the idea to make something there, but due to the COVID situation, there's no festival. Yeah. It would be really good because this underground thing has 4 outgänge.
I tried to set up before a festival, but then nothing was possible.
Right.
Even with COVID, we were thinking, because it was like just like a subway station, whatever.
Yes.
It was quite easy, but no way. So and then, but I always met Maria there with the skate and with my little kind of performance craziness, whatever, and sometimes music. We were using different kind of musical tracks which were totally unknown, like the Thai Black Sabbath tune. It's on the YouTube. We're using a Black Sabbath tune. Whereas a guy from Thailand singing this and making a kung fu version with or whatever,
and also,
crazy stuff.
The like, mask that I designed that are really crazy as well. For
so these
really crazy performance stuff.
So to get my head around this, so that the YouTube channel has different videos. And they have like different themes, but it's, you know, the performance art and the music. But then there's you can sort of donate to.
That's
to help
if you want to support us.
Great. Do you use have you heard of Patreon? Patreon. It's like it's so we've just set up our Patreon account for the same reason, you know, to see if there are people interested out there who are. It's a new age really for creative people, because with the lack of opportunity to perform, exhibition space isn't there, audiences aren't there, record sales are, you know, even for digital music are very, you can't live from it. So this is a new. Have you had some success with that? Has it been?
Yeah, quite a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah,
yeah, I think
some
Great.
like we have a Billie Eilish version, which was crazy because we are just dancing and it's really funny. And then,
Right.
but also we have coconut COVID with coconut. We have lots of comedy kind of freakness.
I can imagine, yeah.
In between art and weirdness and Monty Python, whatever.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. A bit of comedy in it as well. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all about comedy and a bit Dadaismus.
yeah, it's really dada, but as
Yeah.
well, there was a funny thing happened. We have an inside joke because she's quite young,
Yeah.
I'm quite old, but anyway, we're not.
Oh, come on, Frank.
She isn't that young, and I'm not that old, or like this.
Yeah.
And there was a drunken idiot, like somewhere in the corner when we just made the video clip there and just improvising.
Yeah.
And we made it with a sexual dildo, whatever. I had a dildo on it, and
Right.
it was like she was dancing with the dildo, and I'm like the sugar daddy, whatever.
Right.
So this guy get it totally wrong that we are artists, broken artists, and was like really aggressive, like yeah, and you, and but he was half German, half Poland, from Poland,
Right.
and then he was just saying something because he was half drunk, like I called the police, but then kurva, 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 which we didn't know what that mean, but curve, like a curve for a woman could be like the big, huge boobs.
Really?
Whatever, like in English.
Yes,
but,
yes, yeah.
But in curva and Spanish is also something totally different.
Yeah.
So we get it all wrong.
Curve. Yeah.
But this guy was like calling the police, really getting aggressive. So we had to stop, and then he said, "Yeah, you going with this little girl, 12 years, you pedophile, and you like him." And said, "No way, it's like this." And then she was coming up and making jokes with him, and like as well, I can fuck whatever, and making even more worse.
You're just making it worse. Yeah.
Jokes about him because I was like, "Lol, curva, what's this?" and getting the curve of COVID down on up and whatever.
He was totally fucked up because he was not understanding anything, and we neither. And at least we were just stopping it and leaving a little bit. And later we found out that curva, like the curve,
curva,
whatever, was in the language of Poland was kind of slut.
Bitch. Slut. Okay, that's very nice of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how some people? I mean, like ignorance is. Especially when it's exposed, it can be very, very amusing.
Yeah, and at least we had this now as a running joke, like in Spanish, we're saying sube la curva. It's like going up.
Going up. Up the slut.
Going up the curve.
It's like
up the curve.
An inside joke when we communicate.
So you're already experiencing that this is having an effect. Performance art is there to create a reaction, isn't it? And
of course.
And then you interact with the audience to an extent. That's I'm really pleased for you, because I personally, I think when it comes to approaching ignorance, my technique and my method doesn't make things better. I can verbally destroy somebody, but it's not a nice thing to do. I almost sort of go, oh, okay, you're ignorant, I'll just leave you to it. But you can't really do that if you're waving a dildo around and you're performing for a video. So you have to have an explanation for something.
But the funny thing was also we just made the video because we couldn't do it somewhere else. It was close to the Unity, so we just because of the COVID, it was better to do it outside. But there was nearly no people on street, just this guy.
Him.
And maybe the police. So it was very weird. Strange.
Yeah, he picked the wrong day to be drunk on the street, didn't he?
He was also a bit drunk and in the corner. I don't know.
Yeah. It was like it was sometimes funny things happen just like by doing. We were thinking that it's the best place because nobody was there, but then
There's a law, in English. There's a phrase called sod's law, Sod's law, and what it means is the one thing that you don't want to happen happens. Basically.
Okay, yeah, it was like this.
That's a bit like that, yeah.
Many things happen at the Unti, so
Yeah.
and you have many Unti stories to tell.
Yeah, because it was like lots of fun.
Yeah, the Unti. Yeah, it sounds like an interesting place.
Yeah, so we just starting again with much more videos, but now we also trying to get a bit more trashy movie.
Yeah.
What movie, which could be later being, maybe we just try to sell it for a video clip for a skater company, whatever, or selling beer, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Is it is it a feature film? You're writing a whole film, or?
It's more trashy little short movie, like it's like 50 minutes. We can cut it.
Excuse me. Sorry, my big finger there. Just something came up on my screen.
It's too cold here in Germany to have flies. But we have the COVID zombies, because I'm the COVID zombie in the movie.
COVID zombie,
and she's the bikini skater girl.
Right.
COVID zombie attacks the bikini skater girl, but not outside, inside the bathroom, which is hard to skate the bathroom.
It is. I'd imagine. It depends how big your bathroom is, but.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Psycho film, you know.
Yeah. It's like the Hitchcock, like But and also we're trying to get maybe some money from the cheap ketchup company we have.
Oh, what, for the squirties? You think of everything, Frank. That's
like a product placement there.
That's right. Yeah, sponsorship. Huh?
Anyway, it was the cheapest way to do it, and when it will be finished, and I will send to you.
Please do, yeah.
And then we see what's going on, but I think it will be really good trashy movie. Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, I'm going to have a look at these videos on YouTube. But as I say, we'll put in the description when I put these things up. I'm going to have links away. So yeah, right. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's always like. To join something with being creative and having fun at the same time. Like
to enjoy to enjoy yourself, and this is why I'm doing this. I'm really enjoying myself now. It's just I'm going to be collecting a lot of these things, and it's really interesting to have the present and the past, and the future of people who've had a real imprint on my musical taste and my life. Not just me, but obviously more general. And you mentioned then, as another topic of conversation, about was it a Thai version of a Motorhead tune?
Of Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath, sorry, not Motorhead. Sorry, we talked about Lemmy before.
Really crazy, because she's a good skater, but I think first time doing the Kung Fu. And
right.
Not very well as with Kung Fu as well, or what any kind of sports like.
But it sounds, Maria, as though you do loads of things. You're a model, you're a designer, you're a skater. So maybe Kung Fu, you don't need to do everything,
Like that's why how we work together is like doing everything and trying the best coming out of the situation. And anyway, it's lots of fun. And you always found, besides DJing and whatever, which was for one time my job, but then at least just finding out it's much more things, and
other ways to enjoy yourself.
Especially in the COVID times, you have to get inventive now.
Because even if I can DJ on the internet, it's quite boring. So much more interesting doing the video clips than doing this, even if I support any people putting music and DJing in the internet. But it's I like it more like trying out something else.
We've done some online Zoom parties, and it's like radio, but it's not, because you have to have a video to make it engaging, and then you're performing, but you're not performing, you're performing to a screen. It's it's fun. It's really nice when you find you're plugged in with people who usually maybe they wouldn't even go to a club if the club was open, but they're much more comfortable in their front room, and they love having a dance, and it's a very different experience. Well, another thing, I wanted to come back to this Thai version of Black Sabbath, because one of the things that, for me anyway, it's been great with Vampisoul is discovering these Latin American versions of classic tunes. I'm thinking of like there's Extiende tus brazos,
Yeah,
and Aquí a mi nube,
yeah.
and then I love those tracks, and
That's on the Vampisoul Chicas compilation.
the Chicas compilation. Yeah. So
Now
if anyone,
we
if
just,
anyone, have you got something there?
yeah, that's the brand new 7-inch.
That's the one. Oh, we can't see it because of the graphics. Let me describe it. So this is. Do you think I'm sexy?
It's disco cumbia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old tune, but it's on the 45. But also we have the whole record of La Cumbia Moderna de Soledad.
Yeah.
And it's cover version of the Rod Stewart tune. Do you think I'm sexy?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's on it's a double A side anyway, because
You've
on
got
the
Saturday Night Fever, no?
Machuca Cumbia, and they're playing Staying Alive.
Staying Alive, not Saturday Night.
So it's two dance floor killers on 145, and it's incredible on that episode. It's just out now.
Just out, yeah. So you can go to Bandcamp, and you can see the whole Vampisoul catalog available to buy on digital. But there's a new 7-inch, and yeah, this is it's a great bit of fun. There's a lot of cumbia music that you've released on the labels over the years, but a Rod Stewart version is just like wow. Yeah. Have you got any others? Have you got any others like that? You know,
I always try to find much more stuff. Like now I found a record in Tenerife, because there is still possible to get really crazy stuff. There's so many people from Latin America living in Tenerife, and you can find some 45s way from everywhere from Latin America. So I found some stuff incredible. Now I'm still trying to get a Vampisoul compilation together. And also from Spain, you find some stuff. Like there was a flamenco twist version with a flamenco singer, which is incredible. The flamenco twist.
Right.
The singer is from Murcia, and now we try to I try to put it on the compilation for Vampisoul.
Yeah, please do.
The license, to get the license.
Yeah, what's that like in terms of licensing these records? Because a lot of these things are from studios that I guess don't exist anymore. Have they been bought by larger labels, the catalogs?
Yeah, that's a problem. Like I've made already a compilation, and then never was coming out on Vampisoul, because the problem was like there was some from Taiwan and from India and from mostly East Asian countries. The problem was when you phone the company, when you finally found out Vampisoul, because we always paying for this,
right?
We want to even get the artist paid.
Yeah.
Then it's a big company like EMI India, which belongs to the bigger companies. And then there's just this marketing bloke from EMI India saying like, okay, it's nice that you're calling me, and it's $20,000 for this thing nobody even recognized before for 40 years.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculously, and that makes a big problem with some projects.
Yeah. That's such a shame, isn't it? It's almost that, I mean, I happen to know, obviously there's a resurgence maybe in independent record labels, but the vast majority have been kind of collected, for those that don't know, into maybe 3 global labels and all their subsidiaries in different parts of the world, and they own the catalogs of what used to be independent labels, and essentially they can name their price, and it's I think it's very unfair for the artists themselves. I think that in terms of a revolution about how the recorded music industry works, I don't think we've gone in the right direction. I think Spotify obviously does have some benefit to some original artists, but not a lot. And
you know how much?
Exactly.
It's really nothing.
It's virtually nothing.
It's really nothing. And they have Spotify has contracts with all the big companies like before, that they're paying less and earning more.
Yeah.
And the artist, it looks like freedom, and it's not. It's the same shit like before with the the big radio companies and all this linked to the big labels. But now it's just Spotify copying it in the internet. It's more or less the same thing, but even less money than before.
Yeah, that's right. So it's whatever revolution there was, and obviously the I think the catalyst for this, and this has always been a case, in my opinion, of the bigger record labels trying to control everything and be capitalistic, was that digital music and file sharing, MP3 file sharing, condensed music, started to remove the mechanical royalties and the sales that those big companies were making. They had to restructure their whole their management structure, how many employees they could have and how they're going to make some money. But that was an attempt there was piracy involved in that, and that's not a great thing for the artists whose music they weren't getting royalties for. But then it also brought a lot of music to the attention of more people who were then going on and then buying records, and there was a bit of a balancing act, and it was coming back, I think, to a more kind of democratic level. And then the big guys just thought, well, we can do something like Spotify and fuck you, you know.
It's like, it's always like this, you know, like if you have something for good, and then wow, and they're clever, and then okay, it looks like it, but it's not anymore.
Yeah. How's it working with Bandcamp for you? Because I still have to this day, somewhere in the studio, it's a really prized possession of mine. You gave me a catalogue, a Vampisoul catalogue, you know, nicely printed brochure. You could sift through the catalogue numbers and stuff. So now you've moved over to online. You've got your own Bandcamp page. How's it working with Bandcamp?
I really, because I'm more the DJ and not the owner, even if I'm linked, I don't know. I know that Inigo and all those guys setting up the label, I'm just DJing for them.
Okay.
But anyway, and I know a little bit more, but not about those things. I think that's what they do on their offer. I never, you know.
You just get the records when they're printed.
Yeah. And I still love to play the vinyls or whatever. And then,
yeah. Well, listen,
I just know that they selling quite good the vinyls, because there's more people anyway now more at home. And if you really want to have not only a track in the background, but you really want to have more information, the cover, and you enjoy it like a good wine. Yeah. So you need a vinyl record to enjoy it like a good wine.
Yeah. Well, when those
records at the filling station.
That's right. That's right. Like when you've got a label like Vampisoul that puts a lot of time into the collection of the artwork and the production of the sleeve, and then there are notes and it's more than just a record, and it's a possession. It's I wish I had some. I'll have to send off for some, actually. I was gonna buy there's one that sold out. I think it was the 12-inch that you've got from it's something Camino. I don't want to put it's a Brazilian sort of samba jazz track. What is it called now?
Be Rhythm, but that was
it's an orange cover, really nice sort of graphic on it. Yeah. But the vinyl sold out, so it goes to show, like, people will buy the records. You might get a T-shirt, you might get something else with it, and this is the way forward, I think, for independent labels.
I made the mistake that I get some records from Vampisoul, then I was giving it away when it was like for other DJs, and they're saying, like, Frank, why don't you have 3 records at our store?
3 left.
Yeah, you know, like, works like, because they sometimes it's like this. It's really stupid. It works like this.
How many records do you think you own? Are you one of those DJs who keeps a track, counts them?
Too many. When I moved to Tenerife, I just have very few records in Tenerife, because when I travel, I don't want to travel with hand luggage, and you can't pay even for more than, you know, like, so I always travel by hand luggage and still have some records there at home. But most records still are in here at my friend's home in Aachen. Then some records are in Switzerland, some records are Madrid, that I can always use them.
Really?
More or less, it's about 30,000 records.
30,000?
But I was some of my records were stolen when I was moving, which was a really, really bad story.
Oh wow, that's. I mean, I've heard stories
They
about
know me
stolen
that I
vinyl.
was a collector, and the record was stolen when I moved to Tenerife.
So
So
this happened in the Canary Islands.
no, that happened
Oh,
in Italy.
oh really?
I think there was a really sad story because there was for sure some friends involved because there was only some records and really collectible records. It was not somebody taking out everything. It was
Right.
really okay, only that thing, and even yeah.
Oh,
So
no
somewhere must be a
bastards.
collector, and it was even signed records with my name on it from friends from like Sonic Youth and stuff like that. Really, really
That's naughty. That is horrible, isn't it?
there was a really bad experience. There was when I was on the island, at least I was thinking, was really, now I'm back in Aachen and have new friends and as well some others, but you know, it makes you feel bad when
Oh
somebody
man.
steals something,
Yeah.
something, it's one thing, but when it's some of your friends and they know I'm a passionate DJ, musician, and music,
Yeah.
it's a different thing.
And you never found out who this is. You're still
Not really, not really.
no.
I found some records back, but in different record stores. But
Okay. So you think they just went and sold those valuable
some of
records to
them,
collectors?
because maybe he didn't like it or found a better copy or whatever. Like
You
really
could
bad.
look on Discogs for them, couldn't you?
I have done
Yeah.
this, but it's really hardcore to find out because
Mm. Wow.
it was a really really sad experience. I
I
mean,
bet it was, and this is the point. You might be someone with 30,000 vinyls, but some of those individual vinyls mean a lot. They're very important possessions, and
but I've seen similar things like there was David Rodigan, the famous
yeah,
DJ of reggae and you know,
mm.
and his records were stolen on a party here
Oh
in
man,
the area, and he was getting nuts and saying that it's really disrespecting. It's my original records. I come all the way to make
yeah,
you
yeah.
dance and having fun, and somebody had stolen his records.
What in Aachen in
Yeah, it was
Germany?
also no.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well,
So
so there's somebody in Aachen who understands
it's a,
valuable records because David Rodigan's records will be worth a lot of money.
yeah, yeah, but it was the same with my record. This is not.
Yeah,
I didn't find it that it was a record. It was more collectors.
yeah,
People like when somebody broke into a museum, everybody knows it's a
yeah,
Picasso. You can't sell it, but yeah, some of my records were the same. Not all of them, but of course there was lots of records. There was only 500 copies in the world, so it's
yeah,
hard to sell on Discogs, and not that I didn't recognize that's my copy.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it was a collector for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the worst things that can happen to a
Yeah.
record collector, isn't it? Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Frank. And
No,
if
it
you're
was a long time
and
ago,
if
but
you're out there, if you're watching this, we're going to find you. We're going to find
okay.
you.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just buying always new records and found some records on Latin music in Tenerife. Really, really incredible.
So,
Great.
so are there good record shops in Tenerife? If I come over to the Canary Islands,
There
yeah,
is usually it's the best thing is the flea market, and it's reopening in March again. The flea market. We have a flea market which is
yeah,
opening
yeah,
again. Really highly recommended. And then there's in Santa Cruz, in the capital town, and La Laguna, the student town, is a guy running a record store, which is not so much records, but really, really cool stuff. And this guy is also owner of Manzana Records, which was a Latin musical label from the island. And I'm now
right.
in touch because he has also released records from the island,
I see.
linked with Latin music. And
And
when I'm back on the island, I will match him, and then getting more and more in touch. Maybe I can, and sometimes we can release something again.
right, yeah, from Manzana Records, Apple Records,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And you know, in fact, there's another little synchronicity we're talking about. The same conversation we were having yesterday in Esvedra. We were talking about Apple Records and about how Michael Jackson bought the rights to
Oh yeah.
the Beatles catalog, and that's the reason that the Beatles music was only on Spotify until 3 years ago or something,
Yeah.
because the Jackson estate hadn't allowed this music to be released, to be published. And now there's a chap in Tenerife with Apple Records. And when you say Latin music, I mean, let's be honest. There's this huge variety. I mean, I'm much. I like the sort of psychedelic, soulful, funky stuff.
Right.
That's my particular favorite, and Latin jazz as well. But this guy in Tenerife, what sort of is it the sort of music I would like, or is it commercial Latin? Is it one thing that's coming out a lot is this reggaeton sound, which I don't really like. You know?
No, it's not like this. It's very old. It's from the 70s, 60s.
Traditional.
It's really, it's more a traditional salsa, even if it's commercial salsa, but it's commercial salsa from the 70s, 60s, 70s till 80s. And then later on, there's some carnival commercial, bit more commercial, but lots of cumbia and merengue. Stuff. And I found some records really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind. It's really original words, like the Carnival in Tenerife when you've been there. It's Batacure and all this stuff, and still is so linked to the traditional music. So it's really, really cool.
There's a sound called bachata, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's it. And I have a fairly embarrassing story. When I was DJing, I was playing to a bar. It was quite a very late night, and it was one of those kind of quite grimy, dark bars. And they were. I could speak Spanish, but they were "Más bachata, más bachata," and I thought they were trying to say more speed, or something a bit more house music or something, because I was probably playing Vampisoul stuff and sort of classic Latin jazz, and I was trying to play to the Spanish sentiment. I didn't know what this bachata word meant, and I was kind of like, what do you mean? What do you mean more bachata? Like, is this not bachata enough for you? Like that? And they were like, no, no, you need to. I obviously played one version of a bachata tune, and they wanted more, and I was just like, no idea. Right. So I wanted to ask you about a place that I've never been to before, but it's quite near to the Canaries, Cape Verde. Have you been there before?
No, because it's very interesting music scene.
Yeah, it is.
I get a friend of mine. He's working for the little airline, the local one, Binter, which is connecting the islands, but as well Cape Verde and even Azores and all this. And he's a mechanic, so he can travel there for free. And he's a musical friend of mine, really, really great, from Canary Islands. So he was telling me an incredible good scene of musicians in Boa Vista, and was bringing me sometimes lots of tunes, like MP3 tunes from new music from there, which is incredible great. What happened there, he was telling me, is that lots of young people, they moved to the States, mainly to New York, and then coming back on the island and putting a mixture between rap and some traditional Cape Verde music. With crazy mixtures. I love it as well. It's really, really cool stuff. Really brand new stuff.
Yeah, it sounds, and my knowledge of the islands really is sort of brief, but do you ever pick up the Putumayo compilations?
Yeah.
And there was a Cape Verde one, and it just sounded so different to anywhere else. I thought and then I started to look into the islands, and you see that it's kind of in the middle of the Atlantic, and it's sort of autonomous, but there's a lot of North-South American sound, and then Latin sound as well. I find it's fascinating that there are parts of the world that are still a little bit isolated, maybe from the homogenization of music. And
it's the same on Canary Islands. We have traditional music, like now with locals, which just do it for fun.
Yeah,
I call it's not non-professional musicians, but really good ones. One of those guys is, and we always went to the beach, and the group is called like the Beach Lagunilla, and they're playing a traditional Canary Island instruments,
right?
Because it's a mixture between Latin America, Europe, and southern Spain.
So, and any North African as well? Is there any sort of Moroccan?
There is, but not. I think southern Spain has already this Northern African. So it's like the things from Andalusia, like the typical um, voices or hand claps or whatever is inside of this music. So they really mix up some things. It's really interesting.
Yeah, flamenco style. I was in Jerez de la Frontera last year, or we were traveling. Same journey that we were in Malaga and we were in Sevilla as well. And obviously, that's not obvious, but I'd learnt my Spanish in Jerez when I was 14. And we went to see a traditional flamenco performance, which was amazing, mind blowing. And then we walked off around the town and we bumped into a group of guys, all with musicians, with musical instruments, sorry. They were all incredible musicians and they had like a colored orange sash across here, right? So we start talking to them and Nell picks up a guitar and has a sing. And it turns out that it's the Spanish national championships of the ronda, which is this tradition where a group of musicians stand underneath a window and sing to a lady on a balcony. And we bumped into the Tenerife team with and this team was the Cadiz guys. Oh, in fact, maybe they were the Tenerife team. I think they might have been the Tenerife team. I don't know whether that rings a bell if they were orange. So we ended up just hanging out with these guys for the next couple of hours. And we walked out of the bar and just walking down this dark street, and suddenly this window opens and they start playing this. It's so melodic, so beautiful and expressive. You know, you're talking about expressive art as well. There's so much passion and expression in that music. Is that the kind of sound that I would hear if I went to Tenerife? Or is this reserved for?
It's a mixture of sounds. Like the traditional one, it's very smooth. It's a bit fado as well inside of this. Like, and then it's really totally crazy. Like when Carnival times comes up, it's mixed with totally with Brazil and then Caribbean.
Calypso.
And then and it's really strange to describe these mixtures.
Yeah.
Like, and even the lyrics in Carnival time is really hardcore. It's like rap, but from the past. It's really like, I was wondering that like 70-year-old man or women, and sometimes because of that tradition, is starting to, this fucking politician and or whatever, and then but they sing it with a nice voice, which is totally different.
When is the carnival then in
it's
Tenerife?
It's just over now. It's just
finished.
Usually it's starting like in February.
Right.
It's always the dates are switching because of the origin of the dates, but at least it's always 2 weeks more or less.
Right.
And then it's a big. I was there last year when the COVID was closed in already, and it was 1 million people.
Wow.
And it's totally. I'm still wondering that Tenerife never was a hotspot, never was becoming a hotspot for COVID. It was 1 million people, and also we have the Kalima, which is a kind of desert storm coming from the Sahara over, and it was like very hot. Even at night, it was 28 degrees in February.
Wow.
And it was like up to 36, 37 in February, which is. The island always has something like between 20 and lowest temperature, like in February, maybe 15, but not like this. It was totally foggy because of the sand and very hot. So people going nuts like hell.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
The carnival, you must imagine, is like carnival in Rio, but with a taste of Africa and then mixture European chaotic. Yeah, it was really crazy.
It sounds great.
And there was this guy from who made Bicicleta song, Carlos Vives, with Shakira.
I don't know him.
No. Yeah, but you know the Bicicleta song from Shakira.
Do you know what? Probably not.
Yeah. Anyway, it was the summer hit in Spain 3 years ago.
Right.
Bicicleta. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I've managed.
Anyway, it was Shakira just put this Colombian musician. And I guess, it's a bit like very commercial and, like it was a worldwide hit. wouldn't like to hear it thousands of times again.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, this guy was really a great musician in Colombia for a long time, Carlos Rivas, and
Right.
incredible good musicians. And the Latin people and even the Canary Island people know him from a long time before, even the young people, because he's such a huge, great musician. And here
Yeah.
in Europe and even in the States, he's much more known because of this more or less shitty hit with Shakira. So when I was there, I just was there because of the carnival. It was totally crowded. People were nuts, but they know nearly every song of him. And it was a great band, a really good live band with an 80-year-old, 70-year-old accordion player, and really great Latin mixture of music. I was surprised, and it was really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
right.
great.
And young people knew it as well. He was familiar.
That's always because they're so linked with
Yeah.
Latin people are linked really even to salsa merengue, even if they listen to reggaeton now or whatever, they always come back to this kind. It's always an orchestra playing with
Yeah.
20 people, 15 people, salsa merengue, and they really want it. Even the young people, the entertainer, salsa guy is always like 20 years, good looking, but it's young. And it's, I don't think it never will be changing
It
because
won't
it's
change.
so
Yeah.
deep in the culture.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly like I've been fortunate enough to see some classic, legendary musicians perform, and some of them have been very old. I remember seeing Toots and the Maytals perform,
Well, yeah.
and he was, I think he was at the time just turned 70 or something. I mean,
Yeah.
just incredible performance, so much energy, and it does go to show that you don't lose it really in terms of music. Well, some people do, but it's time and age certainly doesn't mean that you can't conduct a crowd and you can't create energy in an audience. I think it's a shame really that modern music seems so tunnel visioned into young and kind of slightly commercial music. I think there's
It's more or less it, but as well, it was always a bit like this because
yeah, I
even
know, yeah,
first
yeah,
times when you see them in the States, like the typical Motown stuff, it was such greats. And as well, if it was more handmade music or whatever, but then you have so many copycats. And if you listen to the songs from them, it's thousands of groups that just copycats and so boring. And
yeah,
and to try to copy the same style and with
yeah,
rock and roll, whatever. So, and now it's just, if it's reggaeton, it's easier to produce, but also when you have a rock and roll band or soul
yeah,
band with a really shitty singer and somebody who didn't wrote good songs and just copying, it's also a little bit, yeah.
yeah.
And then it's in between. I always see some creative people, and it's always coming from underground scenes, of course.
And just talking about that then, so what musicians and what like new music, let's say, rather than talking about some of the music that Vampisoul brings back from adversity, or it's produced a long time ago. Have you got any sort of tips or any recommendations for people to follow and listen to for new musicians?
It's what I really like to promote is couple of Switzerland, which is Terror Tanga.
Terror Tanga.
Yeah,
Terror Tanga.
yeah, Terror Tanga. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They were on the festival last year in
Right.
Basel. I invite them because they really kind of trap but really crazy videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
There is Alumine Guerra. She makes kind of electronic music mixed with cumbia. She's from Argentina. Really
Right.
talented, incredible, good guy. Good girl with a musician from Guatemala with traditional instruments, and then an incredible good voice, but also mixing electronics. And Alumine Guerra is incredible, great.
Sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Moustis Dessert, they're from France. Like
How say that again, Maria? Just
Mouse DTC.
mouth. Okay, Mouth
From
DTC.
France. They are kind of electropunk, live, incredible band.
They're really good.
Really
Okay.
good as well when they're playing live, and they're going really, really up in France now.
Yeah.
But they will be in further times. If it wouldn't be COVID, it would be good.
Yeah.
And then it's Rockman from quite young. Now they're big in Spain, but they could be bigger in whole Europe and worldwide. It's Bilaco, which is really great. They're from the Basque Country.
Cool. Okay. Well, look, do you know what?
Here's our music project.
Yes.
And of course, you.
Frank
Yes.
and Maria with the weapon, whatever.
Yeah. No, I think. Yeah. I mean, look, we're coming up to about. It's just over an hour and a half. So I would like to.
And you can listen to my first song, which is for the for the fashion clash. I made it for the fashion show.
Yeah.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. So it's released right now. You can hear it. Yeah, on YouTube. You can hear it right now.
On YouTube. Okay. Well, we'll find that. We'll find that link, and it's Maria Voth.
Yeah.
And yeah. So just. Before we finish, I just want to say a massive thank you to Frank Castro from Vampisoul and to Maria Voth for your time.
I really want to say a big hello to my friends in Ibiza, and I'm sure we'll be back soon. Hopefully this summer or autumn, whatever, what's possible, to Johnny Lee, to Casita Verde guys, to Roger and Anya, and all. And
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you as well, Frank.
Thanks to you, and I will meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much to invite me.
You're very welcome. I wish you all the best of luck with the YouTube project and the new film and the book. You're two very amazing creative people, and fortunately for the planet, you two have met each other as well. So you can actually create more, and it's really exciting. Really good to hear.
We try our best.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all trying our best. Yeah. Well, listen. I'll let you go. I'll let you go there, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. See
all
you.
right.
See you in a while.
Thank you very much.
Much love, guys.
Cheers.
See you later. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.